Because on one hand, I did enjoy it, but on the other hand, I can also see very clearly that it is really not a very good book. There really weren't that many books that I didn't like. Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. My name is Femke from Fame to the Fiction on Instagram and Bookish Buddies on Twitter. And today I will be talking about my worst books of 2019. First off, let me start by saying that this year has been pretty good in terms of reading. There really weren't that many books that I didn't like. So this will be a pretty short video because there's only 4 books on this list that I think I need to talk to you about. So the first book on this list is one that I don't physically own, and that is The Monster of Elendhaven. I was very intrigued by this. It was supposed to be a horror novel with, well, horrible people who did horrible things, and honestly I didn't think we got any of that. It was very boring in my opinion. It was also, the world to me was very unclear. I mean, were we living in our world or was it set in a different world? Couldn't tell you. I personally also didn't think the characters were that interesting, and overall I just really did not see the point of the book. Now, the next book is a bit weird for me. Because on one hand I did enjoy it, but on the other hand I can also see very clearly that it is really not a very good book. But that is The Crimes of Grindelwald Screenplay by J.K. Rowling. I gave this like 3.5 stars because while I was reading it I did enjoy it, and I based my readings on enjoyment and not necessarily whether they are technically good. However, I do think this needs to be mentioned in here because, okay, well, first of all, this is obviously not simply a narrative book. It's a screenplay, which means that you do not get descriptions or anything like that, but that's not necessarily what I think makes this book bad. The thing that makes this book bad is the plot, in my opinion. That was also what made the movie bad, because these are one and the same thing. It's just so very confusing and convoluted, and there's really not a lot of logic to it, and we go from one place to the other, in my opinion, without any clear reasoning behind that. It just felt all over the place and not well structured at all. Like I said, this is a bit of a weird one for me because on the one hand I did enjoy it, but on the other hand I can also really see that it's just not a very good, well-structured book. Screenplay, movie, whatever. Then the next book is The Beholder by Anna Bright. What am I going to say about you? The outside is very pretty, but on the inside it just really isn't. First off, let me start with the world. Because the names in this world suggest that it is the same world as ours. But then location-wise, I get the feeling that in this book, in this world, places with the same names that exist in our world don't exist in the same place in this world, which was really confusing. And on top of that, our main character is, I believe she's 18 years old, but she just feels very immature. She's very naive. I think she falls in love like 3 times in this book. Seriously, one of my biggest issues with this book was that basically the entire plot, the most important plot, all happened in like the final 6 chapters. Yeah, I didn't really like this book. Like I said, protagonist was very naive. She felt very young for the age she was given in this book. I get that it's a YA book, but then I would say don't make your character 18, but make her younger, make her 16 or something. That would have made a lot of differences. On top of that, I found the world confusing with the names and everything. The plot, there was no plot until the final 6 chapters. So overall, I just don't think this is a very good book. And then the final book on this list is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. Many of you are probably going to hate me for this, but I did not like this book at all. It took forever for anything to happen. It was ridiculously slow paced in my opinion. I liked Nikolai in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but I just did not like him here. I mean, obviously he was supposed to be different here, and I get that, but just in addition to that, I felt the plot was predictable. I don't like Zoya. I really don't like the end, basically the most important plot point. On one hand, I saw it coming. On the other hand, I really hoped she wouldn't do that, but she did, which made me really, really dislike this book. So I'm really not sure whether I'm going to be finishing this duology or not. So those were all of the books on this list. Leave a comment down below with your worst books of 2019. You can also like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified every single time that we post. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!